Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with another StarCraft commentary. We got Moonchu, aka Goodfriend, versus Midas here. This is the Ever OSL from 2005 quarterfinals between Goodfriend and Midas. Goodfriend versus Midas. So we're gonna have Midas is gonna be the is this yellow versus orange? Okay, it's like yellow versus white. So I think Goodfriend is the, sorry, Midas is the white Zerg. I'm sorry, Zerg, what is wrong with me? Midas is the white colored Terran at the bottom left. Goodfriend is the yellow Terran at the bottom right. There we go. We got it sorted out. We did it. We did it, Reddit. This is Rite of the Valkyries, by the way. So those are the only 2 spawn points available. I apologize in advance. This I might get mixed up. The lack of pixels on this VOD is disturbing. But we're gonna have to make do with what we can. But I may end up getting confused because the white looks almost exactly like the yellow. So it's gonna be hard to tell the units apart sometimes, possibly. But we'll do this best we can. I'm trying to read that, but as always, it's gonna be a little bit too slow. It said something about Star League. My Korean is I kind of have to sound out Korean. I'm like a 4-year-old, or maybe even younger, when it comes to Korean. So I know all the symbols and I can read them, but I kind of have to sound it out slowly. I byung e do. So usually the time it takes for them to show the signs in the audience, I can't read them fast enough to actually see them before the sign goes away. So is this a fast command center? Ooh, fast command center, very fast command center first. In fact, that's how fast it was. So we're seeing command center first. This is actually really gutsy. By Goodfriend. He's actually gone for, right, Goodfriend? Yeah, Goodfriend's the yellow one. Command center first on a 2-spawn map when your opponent can scout you extremely easily? Like, that's really gutsy. Like, usually, command center first, you want to not get scouted. Like, you want it on a map where it's harder to scout so that, you know, your opponent can't punish you for it. And he's done it on a map that's not that way. But maybe that's the mind games. There's no way my opponent would go command center first on a map where I can scout him easily. So I'm not going to scout him early. And I don't think Midas has, in fact, scouted it. He's gone straight for a factory, very quick factory. So the question is, and he's actually floated his barracks. So you know what? If he'd kept his barracks landed and made Marines, he could have punished him for this early command center. But he can't because he's actually gone for a typical build into an early factory, and so the floating barracks can't make units. Can you imagine if a floating building could make units? He had like, okay, that would be just that's like one of those things where someone's like, what if this happened? And then it's like, oh well, no, that would break the game. So it's kind of not really worth like theorizing too much. Like, what if Zerg couldn't do anything to Terran because they could just have floating buildings and pop vultures out above the enemy base from floating factories or something. What if? What if this wasn't StarCraft and it was a different game that had different mechanics? Anyway, so here's a little bit of oh, he's gonna actually corner the vulture behind the minerals. He's like, haha, I'm gonna take this back route, try and go away from the bunker as quickly as possible. He actually gets cornered instead, loses that first. I mean, that was his chance too. Like, early vulture running by the bunker is his chance to actually like do some harassment, harass some SCVs, maybe kill a couple Marines as they chase it, maybe pick off the SCV that's building the factory to slow down his opponent's tech. And he gets cornered, so that doesn't happen after all. So, anyway, so kind of crazy how that worked out, but Goodfriend definitely has a huge advantage now. He's gone for command center first. There's been no punishment. His tech is only slightly behind Midas is. I don't know why I keep getting those two confused. It's just the same vowel sounds, I suppose. But it's confusing my tongue a little bit. Anyway, we do have a Wraith coming out here for Midas coming across the map, but there's a few Marines there, and so they're going to be able to kind of deal with this okay. The tank is coming across the map as well. This is a little bit risky coming across with this tank without much support. You know, if Goodfriend has a couple vultures, he's going to be able to kind of easily... Oh, he's going to go around the far side of these minerals and camp that tank in a nice spot where it's going to be really difficult to dislodge it. The minerals are in the way, so it's going to keep vultures from getting next to it. And look at this. He actually was building a control tower on his starport. A Goodfriend was. He's canceled the control tower in order to make a Wraith more quickly because he realizes that there's a little bit of a threat here from the air, and he needs something to deal with this pretty quickly. His machine shop is getting shelled as well. So actually, perhaps Midas has found a way to punish this just by having a little bit quicker tech. The earlier Wraiths, the earlier siege tanks, he's going to be able to put the screws to Goodfriend's base here, start shelling things. He actually takes out a tank. Nice. The Wraith's actually diving in there, taking some damage, but polishing off the tank that was damaged by his own tanks as well. We're going to have a little bit of a Wraith battle here, but one of the Wraiths is being repaired, but it can't be repaired quite fast enough. And the two Wraiths that were damaged by the Marines actually lose out to the two fresh Wraiths. So Goodfriend may actually push this back after all because of his decision to cancel that control tower and start producing Wraiths immediately. If he only had one Wraith instead of two, he doesn't win that air battle. Those tanks are still shelling the extra expansion there. And so now instead, Goodfriend is able to... oh, he's actually... the burp. Wait, hold on a second. Maybe hold that thought. He's still in trouble. There's still 3 tanks there. He may be producing more Wraiths though. Again, I think the Wraiths are going to be able to win out here and polish off these tanks pretty handily, if not quickly. But I guess Goodfriend says, you know what? Danger averted. I'm going to land my command center, send the SCVs back into mine. Nope, the SCVs are now attack units. And they're pretty effective against tanks, actually. And again, consistently... Goodfriend is just winning the air battles, even though he's got even number of Wraiths. He's just maybe staying 1 Wraith ahead or 1 shot ahead. And if you can attack your opponent before they attack you, they do more damage. That's like one of those platitudes that people make fun of, you know, football commentators for saying like, well, you know, the object of the game is to get the points and win it by having more points. And I'm like, well, you know, if you can attack your opponent first, you do more damage to them. And I'm even like, even though you can't see me, I'm making like stupid, cheesy, like pointing and gesturing in real life while I'm recording this, by the way, just to emphasize how silly it is. Anyway, speaking of which, though, if you have more Wraiths, you win the battle of the Wraiths. And Goodfriend has been producing more Wraiths. And it looks like Midas kind of stopped his production. He's probably going to pop out a Goliath here pretty soon, though, to deal with those Wraiths a little bit better. But in the meantime, Goodfriend, you know, when you've got a better economy, you've got more money. When you've got more money, you can produce more units. Mole trap wisdom. So he's got more Wraiths because he had more money, because he had the expansion up for a while, and so he's been able to produce these Wraiths more effectively. You know, I wonder if Midas had gone for 2-port Wraiths. I think this would be a completely different ball game. Completely different football game right now would be happening. Oh, he takes out the tank. I mean, that's kind of how he would be able to put pressure here, is by having those tanks and, you know, guarding the tanks with Goliaths. But if he's losing the tanks, he can't put any pressure on. Now, of course, Midas has gotten his own expansion up. All right, and we had a little bit of a hiccup just now in the recording, so apologies for that. I'm going to have to put these two together, so there was probably just a sudden stop in the recording, and now we're back to recording. Anyway, control tower going down for Midas. I'm kind of curious what the point of that is exactly. Maybe he wants to get Cloak and try and out-wraith him, but it might just be for a dropship. It's more likely here. Midas now kind of running in here, trying to break the siege, but not really having enough units to do so. The SCVs have been pulled out to assist with this, but the Wraiths overhead are going to go ahead and target down those SCVs as well. I mean, this is a little bit desperate. I feel like it was a little bit of a desperate attack there. I'm not sure if he needed to do that. Those tanks are not within range to actually shell his base yet. Although that may have been what he was trying to do, is like say, okay, well, I need to try and take this position before they actually get into position to attack me here. I don't know, but anyway, moving out now with a lot of SCVs and a few Goliaths to try and take out this entrenched position. The Wraiths are there. He quickly takes out one of the Goliaths and two of the Goliaths with the tanks. The third Goliath is there. He's trying to get really close to that tank, but he's not quite able to get close enough. His own SCVs are blocking the Goliath from getting close enough to not get siege attacked. The SCVs themselves, though, are going to get a nice surround on the tank and maybe be able to take it out. It looks like he's actually... Some of those SCVs are Goodfriends that are repairing the tank rather than attacking it. But again, yellow and white look identical in this situation, so it's impossible to tell whose SCVs are which SCVs are whose. Whom's? Oh my gosh. Which SCVs belong to which player? You can't tell. There's the dropship. He is going to try and do a counterattack here. This is a good way of getting back into any StarCraft game. Is do a drop when your opponent is putting pressure on you. Put the pressure back on them. The Wraith misses its chance to be a hero and take out the dropship as it was coming in. Although I guess he probably couldn't kill it fast enough anyway. But, so this drop is going to land. He's going to put some Goliaths down into the main base here. And he can only afford to send a couple Goliaths. He only had a couple Goliaths. So even though he made the dropship, he doesn't really have a solid force to send in there. The dropship going back is going to get caught by these Wraiths. And I think eventually taken out. Yeah, one more shot should do it. There we go. Another dropship is pushing out, is also good. Where were you going, drop? You literally just saw your dropship friend get killed in the air, like five feet away from you, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go, oh, wait, there's Wraiths here? What? Who could have known? Goodfriend now in a commanding lead. Very, very solid position here. Yeah, there's, I don't know what Midas can do at this point. He's got turrets. He's got turrets attacking his command center. He's got turrets. I'm going to say it again. He has turrets attacking his command center in his natural expansion. That does not bode well at all. He's trying to do a counterattack around the side here with these Goliaths to try and get in close to these tanks. They're taking a lot of shots getting close to the tanks. The SCVs attacking turrets when they should be attacking the tank as well. The tank's getting free shots here. The tanks on the top right are cleaning things up. So many Wraiths are going to just finish up those SCVs as well. There's the GG. Coming from Midas, Goodfriend. Such a solid player. Such a solid player right now. Looking really, really strong. Just dominating that game. And, you know, he did go command center first and didn't get punished for it. So there is that. You know, he kind of had an advantage from the beginning because of that. But still, you got to hand it for him. He played it well. And every encounter he played perfectly, or near perfectly as well. So well done by Goodfriend. He's going to take a game. It's going to be up 1-0 against Midas in this quarterfinal matchup. Can Midas get game 2 and tie it up to bring it to that third game? Or will Goodfriend close it out and remain undefeated in this Star League? He went 3-0 in his group. Can he 2-0 his quarterfinal? This is what we saw in the last Star League as well. Goodfriend was undefeated, if I remember correctly, until the semifinals. So we'll see if he can do that again this Star League. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. GG.